podcast studio. My name is Yara Sandra, a Youth Action member, and I'm glad to be your host today. I have with me some wonderful people, and I'd like them to introduce themselves.
Hello, hi. Thank you very much for this opportunity. My name is Kwabna Nyakume Sakwati. I'm a youth advocate with PPAG.
Thanks for having me. I'm Patience Enti. I'm the community and the project lead for Faith, Hope and Love Group Africa.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Benny. I also work with PPAG.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm glad to have you here as well. So today we are going to delve into digital solutions and teenage pregnancy prevention. So starting with Benny, what do you think about teenage pregnancy?
It's teenage pregnancy. I think it's self-explanatory in every sense. It's when a teen gets pregnant. But in these days, because of the prevalence of the fact that even 10-year-olds are getting pregnant, we are no longer terminating at teenage pregnancy, but adolescent pregnancy.
Okay.
So 10 to 18, sorry, they are getting pregnant. Okay. So teenage pregnancy has become an issue that has existed for a long time now. In Ghana, we will go to the rural areas and you see that as young as 9, 10, they are carrying babies at their back, and then they are roaming in the market and doing all sorts of things, or trying to earn a living for them and their child.
Children,
Yeah. So teenage pregnancy basically means teen pregnancy, and it has become an issue that Ghana continues to deal with in this age. And it's high time that we join hands and then we address the issues, we address some of the complications that come with even being a teen mother. We address some of that comes with even having a teen pregnancy.
Yeah.
We address some of the health concerns, economic concerns as well. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Benny. So to the reality check, Nyako, why do you think teenage pregnancy is still a major issue in Ghana, and what do you think are some of the root causes?
Thank you very much for this question. So I believe teenage pregnancy has been with us for some time now, and we look at so many factors in the society that we experience, and sometimes it's deeply rooted in some cultural norms that's in the society, and sometimes socio-economic situations of some parents and everything. So sometimes we look at poverty being one of the factors or one of the things that teenage pregnancy is deeply rooted in. Again, the cultural norms being some societies seeing young people not being barren because they are not pregnant at the very age they are looking at them to be pregnant. So I think mostly sometimes these cultural norms also contribute to they wanting to get pregnant to prove to them that they're actually fertile and they're able to give birth. So I think these cultural norms and sometimes the poverty at home leads them to also engage or have some kind of engagement with elderly people in the society to be able to fend for their families and all that. So these in the end bring teenage pregnancy home, and that's what they carry on their heads, not necessarily identifying it as a teenage pregnancy, but a solution to some situation at home. So I think that is why we are still finding ourselves in the same place. And until we address some of these socio-economic issues in the society and these cultural norms, we'll still be here. So I think we are looking forward to resolving some of these things.
Thank you so much. So that reminds me of me being in one of the regions in Ghana a few years back, and I had gone out to get something, and I met this gentleman who asked me why I was still not married at that age.
Exactly.
And I'm like, wait, I'm not I'm not old, like I'm still young. But then, like you said, the cultural norms, some people think it's actually okay to maybe get married and have kids at that age, probably like 5 years ago or something.
Yeah.
So I think I agree with you.
Yeah.
So Pat, what do you think?
Oh, I agree with him, yes, but there are also various factors. So for now, or for what we've seen so far, is that young people are not really getting the right information. That's one major, because for me, that's the flag. The right information, because most of the time we think that teenage pregnancies are only associated with people who are in the rural areas and then only the pericoastal areas, sorry. But it goes as long as people who are also in the urban areas as well. So getting the right information is very key when it comes to addressing issues of teen pregnancy. And then we always hear people say peer pressure. That's true though, because adolescents listen to their friends most. I mean, what your friend would think is right is what you think would also be right for you. I mean, what works for your friend would not in a way work for you. So I think these are some of the root causes, or these are some of the factors. And just like Hobby said, unless we are able to address this as advocates, as individuals, as an organization, it will still continue to be on the rise.
Okay. Thank you so much. So,
can I add something?
yes, you can.
So, very well said by Kobe and Pat. One other thing is that a lack of access to contraceptives in so many communities, or even our health system today. Contraceptives are not easy or open conversations to be had with young people. And then in some communities too, because they don't talk about it, and because there are so many restrictions placed on reproductive health of women, young people lack access to contraceptives. Pat rightfully said they lack access to the information regarding sexual reproductive health and contraceptives. That means that if they don't even have the information, how are they going to be able to have the commodity?
That's true.
And also our culture and traditional practices. In these days, early marriage is still a thing we are fighting for. When you go to some communities, that women or fathers are still forcing their young girls to marry very old men or very old men, just because they are going to give you one plot of land somewhere, or they are going to bring you a fruit. But like, it doesn't make sense. Early marriage is still happening. We are fighting so much to put an end to it, and that is what is still causing the teenage pregnancies. And then in Ghana too, we are the laws that actually hold the people accountable for these things are not being enforced. So these are all, as we are talking about it, as we are campaigning, as we are trying to find ways to actually eradicate or put a stop to teenage pregnancy, or even just decrease the percentage, the percentage that it raises every year. This is why we are doing this, having this conversation, speaking to stakeholders, engaging the communities, sensitizing, and then providing the education to young people as well as the whole nation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So just to add up, I think with the conversation about giving their children out for some of the properties or lands and all that, I think parental guidance has reduced nowadays. I think
a lot.
Looking at how parents control their children nowadays, it's not like before, where you are expected to be asleep at a particular time and all that. I think it's not happening anymore. Now you see children walking around at 2 a.m., 1 a.m. I live around the Zungo community, and you step out sometimes and come late, and you see young people as young as 14 walking around in the area at 1 a.m. And so parental control has reduced, and I think in order to address some of these challenges, we need to look at addressing this parent-child
communication,
so that we can fully tackle this issue of teenage pregnancy.
Thank you so much, Nako. So, I was going to ask Pat a question about teenage pregnancy prevention. What do you think are some of the practical approaches that are proving effective? So like some of the approaches that are already in place that are proving effective. I'd want to share that with us.
All right, thank you so much for the question. So one thing most organizations or even PPH does is outreaches. So we reach out to people in the community, give them the right information in order for them to be able to make informed decisions at the end of the day. So targeted outreach is one. I think right now what we are also doing, so alongside the targeted outreach, there's in and out of school, if I should put it that way, where we go to in school, where then we have sessions with people in school and then out of school, because mind you, people in school are having sex, people outside school are having sex, and there's no regulation to that. I mean, you can tell them not to do something, and then they end up doing it at the end of the day. So giving them the right information when it comes to outreaches is one. And then right now, social media. I mean, there's lots of buzz when it comes to social media. So the Twitter storm, the Twitter X making noise. Now they said it's called what? It's not Twitter again, X, space, and then Storm and all of that. I'm a little bit tacky and all of that. And then also, so I made mention of community outreach. I made mention of using
social media in and out of school.
Yes, and then targeting people who are in and out of school.
Yeah.
And then just like Kobe rightly said, parent-child communication. I mean, sometimes we look at it in a way that we just speak to people we think are directly affected when it comes to teen pregnancy, but we then forget that they live in a community, they live in their home, and then the first place of contact is always the home. So we always try as much as possible to engage the parents as well. And then designing programs in such a way that at the end of the day, those involved would, so it's like a user-centered approach, something in such a way that those involved at the end of the day would be the one on board to define solutions or to bring up innovative solutions to tackle the issue.
Okay. Thank you so much. Sonyako.
Okay, thank you very much. So again, to add up, I think earlier I should have mentioned this. The reproductive health needs of young people are not really paid. We don't pay attention to it anymore. And so if they are even going out there to even get help with regards to their reproductive health needs, they are not able to get the help they need. And so they come back to the same people who end up abusing them and getting them pregnant. Yeah. And so I'm thinking that if we are to address the reproductive health needs of these young people, something like making contraceptives accessible by them, I think it will go a long way to, like, this is a proven thing that helps these young people. You go to communities like Choco, I don't know if I'm right to mention it, but where you give them condoms, and I mean, they are happy about it, meaning if you are to provide it more, they are likely to prevent these pregnancies. And so I think that will also go a long way to help these young people. Again, in addressing the reproductive health needs of young people, I think training health personnel to also know how to communicate with these young people when they visit the facilities is going to also help them bring their issues to them when they are confused and not go to these perpetrators to get them pregnant. So generally addressing reproductive health needs of young people, if you are to make accessible contraceptive accessible to them and also train health providers to be youth friendly, I think it will draw them home to also get these needs very readily available to them, so that it will also address the issues.
Yeah. So Benny, both of them have shared approaches that are in place currently that you think are working. Do you think these approaches are enough? And if yes or if no, do you think there are more that can be done?
Yes. Yes and yes and yes. Okay. So let me give you an example. Okay, you have I have six. I'm actually the last one, but let's say I have sisters. GSS1, GSS2, GSS3. Usually when peer educators or community engagement or even these projects or some of the staff of PPAG, they go to schools and everything. Because of the CSE limitation in Ghana and everything, when you go, you give education to GSS1 to GSS3. Yeah. But you've forgotten that they are going to move on into the next phase. Some people will also come back to GSS1 and GSS3. But then they are working, to your question, they are working because there are things that happen, but it has to be reinforced. There should be more going on. So when you know that another group of people have come to this level and they need this information, then the information should go there.
So like every education,
yes, so that it's reoccurring, it continues, continuity. You see, when there's a break, that is when we find out that what happened? We're doing something that was right, so then all of a sudden we are seeing a high percentage because there's a break in it. You see, it doesn't mean that these people too that have migrated from GSS3 to they still don't need the information. It's the information that has made them stand still and they are not pregnant as at this age. Yes. So they need to continue to learn it until they get to a certain point when they themselves they'll say that they are ready to have to give birth or start a family, and then they move on to that. Then they'll move on to the family planning aspect where you space out your kid and all those things. So see, it has to be a systemic education that goes on. Okay. So yes, all these strategies that my fellow colleagues have mentioned, they are working. The community empowerment, community engagement and empowerment, the peer education, the policy implementation, they are all working. But we need to define it or work as CSOs or individuals and collectively continue to push all these strategies so that one person, the next person behind someone will continue to benefit from the existing implementation that is ongoing. So yes, it's working, it's really working. It's working because some people can tell you today that it was because of Nyakuku came to my school to give me education that I didn't get pregnant.
Yeah.
You know, Valentine's Day was approaching. He told me that even if I was going to have sex, let me use a condom.
That's me.
Oh, you see, it's you. You see, some people, we've gotten testimonials from people that have said they've been saved just because of. In fact, last week I also had some. I was like, it's PPAG. If not, in fact, I'm a peer educator. The person told me I'm a peer educator in PPAG. If not for PPAG, I would have been pregnant long ago.
Yeah.
Do you know why the person was speaking to me? Because she's now in a relationship where her boyfriend is now asking for sex. And she wants to know, what can I do to prevent it? Then I asked her, why are you even having sex in the first place? Then she expressed that the boy said she'll leave her if they don't do it. And I asked you, what do you, so I didn't say anything, I just asked her straight for what do you want to be in future?
Yeah.
She said she wants to work in the fire department. And I was like, there's not a lot of females in that department.
Yeah.
But to get there, it kind of takes some kind of a prestige or some kind of effort that you need to continue to fight for yourself to say that, oh, I'm one of the first people that are there.
Yeah.
You see, and then she said that if not for PPAG, back in the day when I was in the community, I would have been pregnant long time ago. But because of PPAG, right now I'm still not pregnant, I'm still not engaging since I'm abstaining to wait for the right time.
That's good. Very good. And I'm proud of what you just said. Okay, so moving on, we are talking about the power of digital media. Do you think it's doing more work than the traditional way of sitting someone down one-to-one conversations, or doing the in school, you go to the schools to talk to the whole class and everything? Do you think using the social media is getting access to more people, or do you think it's the same?
Thank you very much.
It carries the same weight.
So for the reach on social media, I think it has vast number of people you're able to reach when you engage on social media. But then what needs to really be paid attention to is the accuracy of the information going out there.
Okay.
And so social media is a place for everyone where any information at all, immediately you punch it in, you are going to get it.
Great.
But whether the right information that we want out there is truly out there is what we are looking at, because there is no way to verify some of these information out there. And so if the young person goes on there and he sees, oh, condom is good for spitting inside, that's what they are going to take. You get me? So social media is doing the right thing by taking information or making information readily available to everybody. But are the accurate information there for these people to come and consume? So I think social media is a good platform to reach a lot of young people when it comes to the conversation of addressing teenage pregnancies. But as to whether the information is accurate, I think that's something we need to have a second look at.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so personally, I think that there are just like Bobby said, a lot of misinformation and disinformation out there. In terms of getting the numbers, when you measure the metrics and all of that, yes, social media is doing a wonderful job. But I don't think it's in a way overrides traditional media. They all have a purpose to play when it comes to addressing the needs of young people in terms of teen pregnancy, sexual reproductive health, rights, and all of that. Because, mind you, there are some people who don't have access to social media, like even internet to begin with. So those people, of course, the traditional way is going to work for them.
Okay.
Yes, and then there are people who would also, the new media is going to work for those people. So I don't think it overrides any way. It depends, I think, on the target audience and the content in which, social media has a lot of, you can put content out there, but just like Bobby said, are you putting the right information? The young people are young people for a reason. We are wild for a reason.
Okay.
Sometimes we go along with what we see online. We don't really verify. It doesn't really concern us. So far as this is what is online, I'm going with it. So I think one way or the other, for me, it's a 50-50. One doesn't override the other.
Okay.
So I think for a while now we've been doing the SMART campaign, right? Social media for adolescent and reproductive health transformation. So rightfully said by my two colleagues, we are in an age where more and more people are also still using social media. You go to TikTok today, someone will come with their own idea of how everything should be and all that. And I keep saying it, and I want to say it here again. It might work for you, but it doesn't actually mean to work for parts. Our bodies are different. The fact that we are both women doesn't mean that. It's the same way when it comes to contraceptives. What might work for me might not be what will work for parts. You see, so there's a lot of misinformation out there, and I think that is why a lot of organizations or reproductive health organizations are also using this medium and are targeting young people who are spending majority of their time on social media to address the myth and misconception that they hear on this platform, to pass on the knowledge, more knowledge to them through this platform, so that someone will be like, oh, this is nice, so let me also forward it to my friend. You know, it could make an impact. It could help someone in a dire situation who needs understanding or information about something concerning their sexual and reproductive health. So social media, we are harnessing it, and I wish that more organizations will continue to harness social media and also complement it with the traditional medium or existing mediums that we are already using.
I agree.
Again, I agree with what Pat said. So I think information using the traditional media is much accurate compared to social media, because before you are given the opportunity to use the traditional media to put information out, I think it's well supervised and verified before they even engage. What do you call them?
Young people?
Not necessarily young people, like an expert. They usually ensure that they have an expert to have that conversation before they bring it out there. But for social media, if I don't have the right information, I can just take my phone, punch something online that, hey, I hear now if you use condom, you use it 3 times, it protects you, and everybody's going to like it because Kobe has PPAG Youth Advocate on his profile. You get me? But for the traditional media, I think they look at the people they are engaging, they ensure that these people are the experts in the very field they want to engage them in before they bring the information out there. So in as much as they do not override each other, I think the traditional media is well supervised and verified.
Just to add a bit to it, so I think with the new media or social media, a lot of us or a lot of young people equate likes for excuse my language, wisdom. Or you saying the right thing. So anybody at all can create an account, a ghost account, be behind it, have the numbers, and then just now people are even selling their account. I don't know how they call it, but yes, they have the likes, the following, and then they just sell it out to someone who the person can be behind it and probably not change the name, has the old name and all of that, and then be giving out information which is not accurate. So just like Benny said, there's a way we should balance the two and then see how it works for us and the young people.
Okay, so back to you, Pat. Looking ahead, how can we scale digital health innovations to create a future where every young person has the tools to make informed choices?
All right. Thank you so much. So I think one is the content we create, looking at very much at the content we create.
Okay.
Like I said, young people are young people for a reason, and they are wild and innovative. So we should look at content which has the user in mind, look at content which really appeals to the user, that at the end of the day, whoever you are giving the information to, you are giving the right information and they're not misinforming and then disinforming. All right, so I also made mention of the user-centric design approach or the human-centered design approach. I mean, for that one, you would have to sit one-on-one with people to have the conversation with them and all of that. But social media is in such a way that if you want a targeted audience, I mean, you are going to get that targeted audience. So having in mind the audience you are going to speak to at the end of the day, or the audience you are going to engage. And then also looking at partnerships. And then also, am I saying everything? Also looking at partnerships. And then even bringing on board influencers. I mean, people you know at the end of the day are going to have positive impact on the lives of these young people. Not someone who is out there and thinking that when I do this is right, I'm living in my own world and all of that. Other people, young people can look up to, and young people really, and then their life really speak as an example to the young people. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. So, Benny, moving from awareness to action, does better knowledge lead to behavior change?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, because I want to say that I lack information, maybe in your field or your work, unless you teach me, right? So I come, and all the time when I come to your office, maybe I'm always clicking on something and doing something, and you know now that it's a bad behavior or what I'm doing is wrong. But let's say now you proceed to teach me. What have I learned? Would I come back and still do the same thing? No. So you change a behavior that I have. Okay. So you've given me the knowledge. I feel like we all know this, but knowledge is powerful. It's the most powerful thing you can have as an individual in this world. Because it could send you into rooms that you didn't think you should be, or you should ever step foot in, because you have that knowledge. Because why do you think people move from diploma to degree and say, oh, I want to get more myself, or I want to get PhD? Yeah. Because they know the power you hold when you have knowledge. Okay. So yes, it's going to change behaviors when we continue to educate young people about their teenage pregnancies, and then what are the complications and consequences of it. It's going to change when we continue to educate our parents that these are what your adolescent is going through, these are the developments, so this is how you should pay attention to it, and these are the kind of information you should be giving your adolescent. If they get to a point, they should get to a point where they are comfortable talking to you and telling you, man, I want to engage in sex, what should I do? And you should be comfortable to say, okay, protect yourself, or maybe can I advise you to continue to abstain for a little while before, or this and all that. Okay. So it should be diverse in every way. And at the very beginning when we said that the information should not just go into the people who are going to directly benefit. That's what you said, right? Yeah. It should go all around, to the communities, to the teachers, to our church members, and everyone that we can pass the information out to.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much, Benny. So to our final words, starting with Kobe.
Thank you very much. So looking at the bigger picture that's addressing teenage pregnancy and leveraging on social media or the new media, I think we should look at the accuracy in the information we are giving to young people, and also ban the social-cultural norms that are in the society. I think we should bring policies that will be directed at punishing whoever is promoting some of these norms that are in the society, leading the young people to get pregnant. I mean, if you look at these things and also leverage on, put these things out there as verification or maybe experience sharing to the young people to know that, okay, these things are what young people are saying are getting them pregnant. So if they go out there and they see it more often, I think what they see can also change their mindset. I was about to say that with regards to the better knowledge and changing behavior, it may not be a guarantee. The better knowledge may not be a guarantee, because I think what they see may easily change their mind. So if the information the quality of information we are putting out there is there, I think we'll go a long way to also address some of these issues you are tackling. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pat.
All right, thank you so much. So for me, I think that, so personally, I like to address things from the grassroots. So things are changing, times are evolving, and I think that as CSOs, as individuals, as young people who are into this space or who are in the advocacy space, we should look at ways of innovatively communicating such issues and then bringing up solutions when it comes to teen pregnancy. Because for my organization, Faith, Hope and Love Group, we have this thing that we do, that we use moral artwork to communicate to the people. So we go, and if it's the issue of teen pregnancy, we talk to the people, the user-centric approach, like how do you want it to be when we are designing an artwork? And then best, because it stays with the people in the community. That at the end of the day, if everyone passes by and looks at it, it speaks to them, and then they are being reminded at the end of the day. And then the information, what education will come. But one thing young people should put in mind is about you and what you do with the information at the end of the day. How intentional are you when it comes to these things that we educate you on? What do you do with the information at the end of the day? So you have to be intentional about a lot of stuff. If you are being told not to have sex and you don't want to get pregnant, we know you have to be intentional. At the end of the day, I'm not going to have sex. At the end of the day, I'm not promoting the use of condom or anything, but at the end of the day, I'm young, I'm having it, and I think I can't stop it. So I'm going to use condom at the end of the day. So young people should be intentional, and then watch out for what they really feed themselves with when it comes to social media.
Okay, thank you. Benny.
I think they've said it all, but I want to conclude by saying that young people are crying for help. We are just not hearing it. They are actually crying, but we are not hearing, because we are assuming that, oh, they are adolescents, they are going through things anyway. I've also been through it before, so why should I bother? But they're actually crying for help.
Yeah.
And as much as PPAG and other CEOs are also doing the work that they need to actually address some of the issues that young people are facing, we can actually achieve this collectively as individuals and as an organization by working together every step of the way. So yes, as much as possible, when it comes to designing spaces or activities or creating a platform for young people, ensure that we co-create, involve them, include them from the design to the implementation, because they are the people that can speak for themselves. Yeah. No one understands young people better than another young person. We cannot say that we've lived the same life because we've had the same experiences because we're teenagers. And our mothers or our parents or even people who are older than us, their teenage years or the adolescent development they had to go through is different from the one we are going through now. And they are actually trying. They are trying to understand us, but it's not enough. So let us also increase parent-child communication. Let us target the auxiliary beneficiaries of teenage pregnancy, which are the parent, the community elders and all that. Let us push them. And when they understand what teenage pregnancy is, they themselves are able to do things or take effective measures to address that in their communities. So let's do more. Let's continue to employ digital health platforms such as PPAG's digital health platform, the Yankasa Contact Center, the Young and Wise Africa website that PPAG has that is giving a space for young people to actually get information and also create something of themselves through e-courses. Yes, and let us just continue to engage as much as possible.
Thank you so much, all of you. It has been an insightful session today, and I have learned a few things as well. Thank you so much. So thank you for sticking with us, our viewers and listeners. To know more and follow this conversation, you can call us on 0800 2020 10 to also know more about your sexual and reproductive health, or you can WhatsApp 0245 118 228. Also, you can follow our social media platforms on Yenkasa_GH and ppag.gh. Thank you so much. See you next time.